Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are back in the TBM-930. We're going to be heading from Phoenix, Arizona over to Tucson. This is attempt number 5 at getting recording done. Yesterday I made 4 attempts, and every time I either ran into some weird bug or something crashed the sim. It was a nightmare yesterday. So hopefully today goes better. Hopefully we don't run into any of those problems. If it does happen, I'll probably post what I get out just so you guys can see some flying. We'll see. It depends how bad it goes, but hopefully, knock on wood, everything goes well today. We will be using Pilot2ATC, and some of you have reported some goofy issues that you're having with Pilot2ATC that I was having as well. So I do want to throw out a couple of tips here in just a minute when we get to that may help you alleviate some of the things I was experiencing. Okay, that sort of caught me by surprise. But first off, some channel news real quick. With the G1000 guide that I have been working on, the first release is just about to come out. It'll either be out late this evening or tomorrow afternoon when I get off of work. It is a complete IFR flight that can be used with the G1000. I keep mentioning the G1000 because this is not aircraft specific. It is important to remember that any procedures relating to the aircraft you must know already before using this guide. But as long as you're familiar with the plane that you're flying and just want to learn the G1000 guide, you can complete an IFR flight while using this particular guide, as well as some VOR navigation tips and understanding how to use the VOR radios in it. And then there will be further information that will be added, which leads us into the A320 guide. The A320 guide will be receiving a new update. I have been messing around with the experimental version of the A320. I have a bunch of screenshots ready to go, a bunch of pages ready to go live. The only thing that's holding me back is waiting for those new developments to hit the development release of the A32NX. Fly-by-Wire is doing such an amazing job. I just can't compliment them enough. So as soon as those features go into development version, I will go ahead and update the guide and send it live. The reason why I wait until it goes to the development version is because as features are experimental, it could very easily turn out to be something that they decide, nah, I don't think we're going to go through this, it's going to be too much of a pain or whatever. And so there's no point in putting it into the guide at that point. So I don't wait for a stable release, I wait for development, but once it's in development, I'll add it to the guide. And same thing with anything new that comes along down the line with the G1000. We have working title constantly updating the G1000, G3000 avionics suites. So, you know, as more features become available, things like that, the guide will increase as well. And there's still a bunch of information to put into the guide moving forward. So, finally, last piece of news on the list here is my next step was going to be a G3000 guide. However, I've decided to scrap that for now, and we're going to go full steam into the TBM-930 guide. It will be just like the A320 guide, fully detailed cockpit instruments, you name it, a full flight from point A to point B, from power on to shutdown, to creating your flight plan, entering, you name it. Might even add Pilot2ATC into the mix now because I'm really getting more and more impressed with it the more I use it. And I think hopefully we'll be able to alleviate some things today if some of you are having trouble with it. Okay. The last thing I want to mention today is the TBM-930. For the longest time had a really awesome add-on or mod that was being developed for it. And unfortunately the original author had to move away and was put into a position where he could no longer fly the simulator and therefore could no longer develop the mod. But that mod has been rebirthed. It has come back to life. Before he left, he said anyone wants to take this on by all means, and it looks like somebody finally has. As the previous version was 0.55, we're now on 0.56, and it was updated only 25 days ago, which prior to that was much further. So very excited about this. This is going to be really cool. Really hope that they continue to work on it. And if there's anything we can do to help, by all means, we're here. So the link to this will be in the description below. There is one more TBM-930 modification that I did stumble on FlightSim.2. However, After testing this one out, just to give you guys my feedback, again, a link will be in the description if you guys are interested in trying out. But after trying it out, the aircraft was extremely overpowered, especially on takeoff. Within the first 10 seconds, I was, if even that, I was passing over 100 knots. Before I even realized what had happened, the airspeed had reached over 300. So it just, again, something wasn't right there. Actually, not 300, sorry, it was like 180. Anyway, something to be concerned about there with this one. So I'll be keeping an eye on this one, watching for further updates. But as of this moment, I'm not going to recommend it. But I would say there's no harm in trying it, by all means. It's something that can easily be removed and reverted if you decide you don't like it. But it's just nice to see people working on the TBM. And so if you guys are like me and if it's one of your favorite aircraft, check these out, get your opinion on them, see what you guys like and dislike, all right? The other thing to be thinking about here is I did try these mods in conjunction with each other, so that's something that may have caused a problem. They were both running at the same time. Okay, so with that being done, let's go ahead and talk about our flight today. As I said, we're going from the Phoenix Business Center on over to Tucson International. We're going to be doing a chain series where I'm going to sort of hop the aircraft across the country in the TBM, working our way slowly over to the East Coast. We should get to experience a bunch of different flight plans, different approaches, some variants and weather and things like that I'm really looking forward to. So I think that'll be fun, and it gives us more purpose to fly. So let's go ahead and get our flight going for today, in which case we need to get some power onto the aircraft. Alright, so getting into the cockpit, a couple things to be aware of is we are now on AirAct Cycle 2014. The flight simulator has been updated as well with the new Navigraph beta that you can find on the Navigraph site. If you have it, it allows you to upgrade the AirAct cycle within the simulator. We have Pilot2ATC. Using the FMS data manager, you can also update it as well. You just have to point to the installation directory. You can see we're, again, focusing on 2014. Now, in Pilot2ATC, there's a couple configurations I want some people to be aware of. First thing, if you right-click on the little speaker down in the bottom right corner of your screen, you bring up sounds. You want to go to recording, and you want to make sure that whatever microphone you have set, or that you want to use, is set as your default device. I disable everything else and then launch Pilot2ATC. If you don't, you may have issues where ATC never responds, and if you change it while ATC is running, it does not work. I've never seen it update. So something to keep in mind. Hopefully the developer maybe one day will put in an ability to select your microphone inside the application here. Okay, but anyway, so I wanted you guys to have that ready for you. The other thing that I want you guys to be aware of, if you're importing flight plans and using SimBrief, what I have found is these three checkboxes: AT assigns SIDS, AT assigns stars, AT assigns approaches. Uncheck those, because you want it to use your flight plan information. You don't want it editing that, and it will if you don't check these. Okay, import, export, SID stars, so like these are things that we could look at, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. This is just what I found to work for right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our configuration back. And let's get the aircraft powered on, but first we need to set our weights and balances. So I've already created a flight plan in SimBrief. You can see I don't care about airline, I don't care about the flight number. You want your departure, your arrival location. The aircraft is all the way down at the bottom, TBM-930 series. Altitude, we're going to set that to 17,000. As we're going from east to west, I believe we're in the odd numbers, so we want to make sure we're not on an even flight draft. Departure runway, we're expecting runway 26 based on the current weather. Checking that on Google, so hopefully ATIS reports the same thing. We'll know in a minute. Passengers 2, cargo, really whatever you want as long as it's within the flight parameters. We have our departure and our transition point onto the Dingo 5. Now we're going to do something a little weird with the TBM, because the TFD transition isn't listed, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to get around that to make the flight plan at least match what we're expecting to see. Okay, so let's go ahead and generate the OFP, because we need to get our weights and balances in the aircraft before we can start it, if you want to be as accurate as we can. Alright, so we're going to come down here, we're going to find our fuel. Our fuel, we're expecting 691 pounds on board. Let's go ahead and go to taxi. Or taxi. What? All right. It's been that kind of day. This is actually I think I mentioned it, attempt number 5 of trying to get this recording out. So it's been an interesting situation. This is actually 6 because I did one earlier today, and the bug, by the way, let me give you guys all that heads up too. If you are flying the TBM, don't change any of your flight plan or direct information right now. It locks up the primary flight displays. It freezes them still. That bug still exists. Actually, I think what has happened is that bug has returned. But anyway, so 685 versus 691. I'm not worried about 6 pounds of fuel. That's probably actually more fuel than what we need by quite a bit. Payload. If we scroll down here on our flight plan, this is the number we're looking for, 660 pounds. So we're just going to move this guy up about double. What did I say, 660? Let's go 34, 33, 32, I bet is our metric number. Nope, not leaving it on that. I'm not typically superstitious, but, you know, with the luck I've been having with the simulator the last 24 hours, I'm not risking it. All right, so 685 on the fuel, 645 on the payload. We're good there. So now we can go ahead and get the aircraft started. Check our flight controls, make sure throttles are zeroed, all that good stuff. So we're going to do the crash bar up, battery on, generator on. Make sure ignition is set to on, auxiliary boost pump set to on, fuel selection set to manual, autopilot stay off, nav lights can come on, pulse lights can come on. Make sure your fuel selector is set to either left or right tank as long as it's not on off. Let's go and clear those. G1000, we can go ahead and prime that thing up here. Make sure our pressurization is set to off. Pitot heat's off, initial separators are off for engine start. And let's go ahead and give this bad girl a crank. So we're going to come up to the starter. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, let her loose. Monitoring the NG rotation, looking for 13%, and we'll go into low idle by moving the throttle slightly forward. So there's 13. Throttle forward. Now we're looking for 53 on the NG, and I think 600 or so on the inlet temperature. Basically both in the green is what you want. Sorry, 400, there we go. And still waiting on NG, 51, there we go, 53. Throttle forward again, up over the gate, and then back down into flight idle. And here the engine will begin to stabilize. Should be at the 60% on the NG and about 600 degrees Celsius on the inlet temperature. Torque down at 11 pounds. Or 11%, excuse me. I'm just all over the place with my verbiage, aren't I? Okay, now just quick preparation. We're going to want our CDI set to the FMS as our nav system. AOA and all that stuff, you guys can adjust this as you desire. Doesn't really bother me. Based on our departure for starting altitude, I'm expecting 5,000. We'll see if ATC, though, gives us something different. We'll know in a few minutes. But just to try to get ahead of the game, I'm going to set that. Pressurization switch, we need to set that up to auto or max diff. Initial separator can come on for taxi and takeoff. Pitot heaters are on. Come back up to the top here. Manual fuel selection set to automatic. Autopilot trim settings are turned on, or trim systems on. Auxiliary boost pumps to auto. Ignition set to auto. And if you wish, taxi light can come on. Alright, so at this point we are ready to enter in our flight plan. We'll enter it into the FMC first, then we'll get our clearance from ATC. So let's come down here to the MFD. We're going to first enter our flight plan. We're going to add the origin, and that's KTU. Nope, back up, back up. That's where we're going, not where we're originating. Kilo Papa Hotel X-Ray, that's just the caution sign for the initial separator. Don't worry about that. And then Kilo Tango Uniform Sierra as our destination. Let's come back to the previous page, go to procedure, set our departure. Now here's where things get weird. So ideally what we're looking for here, according to our flight plan, is the Tango Foxtrot Delta 4, but we need the Tango Foxtrot Delta transition. It doesn't have it. Okay, even with the updated air rack cycle, I don't know why it's not here. Okay, and that's a requirement for this particular flight. So what we're going to do is actually something different. Okay, we're just going to go back here, go to home, go to procedures, and leave the departure empty. We're going to go to our rivals Dingo 5. On the transition, we can use the TFD, which will basically do the same thing, because we were basically going to be flying direct to the TFD. Alright, so and we're going to select our runway as 29 right, go load, set our approach. We're looking for the RNAV 29 right. So we'll get the localizer information. We'll just have to fly the glide slope ourselves. And for the transition, we are going to be using the Dingo. And that should put us on a similar path to what we're expecting to see. Now, wait a minute. What did you just do? Okay. And let's go back and verify our flight plan here. RNAV 29 right. Yep. Okay. All right. Now, so we've got our flight plan as best as we can in the system. Now, we may have to listen to ATC vectoring for a little bit, but we'll figure that out here in just a minute, and we'll see what this looks like. We'll pull up the Navigraph here in a minute. So, we're done with the aircraft configuration. We're going to clear the master caution there. And now it's just a matter of preferences. Set our approach bugs, best climb bug, rotation bug. Go back to the MFD. We're actually going to need nav and comms next. We can bring the MFD up over here. That way you can always control your zoom level on this one here. But like I said, do not change anything once you get airborne. Don't remove any waypoints. Don't set direct right now. There's a bug that's freezing the screen up. And what it does is literally your two primary flight displays locks them up. You can't do squat with them. I tried resetting the master avionics, everything like that. Didn't do anything. So we'll just count that as a no-no for the moment. Hopefully that's something that gets resolved soon. We'll work our way around it like always. Do some of that pilot stuff. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get ATC configured. Alright, so now let's get our ATC configured. So, first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to make sure that we are connected to the sim. Looks like we are, but I'm going to back that out and double check it here in a second. We're going to go new. Flight level, come on, we're going to be looking for 170 is what we're expecting here. And we're going to go for import. Here's our flight plan that we downloaded from SimBrief. If you're interested in doing so from this page, you come right here at FS 2020, download this guy right there, and then you can import it over. Okay, now, we're telling it not, because we of those settings I showed you guys in the beginning of this, it shouldn't change anything that we've entered here. It should fly the route that we have assigned it. And you can see we basically got the same thing in our FMS, going directly from Phoenix to TFD. Now let's go ahead and go validate. And let's go file. Okay, so you can connect it to your simulator. Oh, that does cause a problem. My bad.
Phoenix Sky Harbor International Information Oscar, 2151 Zulu winds are 238 at 9 knots. Visibility 10 miles.
Go ahead and get our ATIS.
3,000 few clouds. 6,500 scattered. 9,000 broken. 20,000 broken. Temperature 12, dew 0.5. Current altimeter is 2979er. Arriving and departing runway 25 left, 25 right, 26.
Okay,
Phoenix
cool.
Sky Harbor International Information Oscar, 2151 Zulu winds.
Okay. Cool. Got that out of the way. It automatically connects to ATIS now once you connect. So that's kind of cool, actually. And then gives you your clearance and delivery right beneath it. And I think it put it in the standby. Yep. So that was ATIS. I hit transfer. Now we're on clearance and delivery. So it's already got us set for the next segment here. Pilot2ATC is like keeps lagging. I mean, it's driving me crazy. Which probably isn't a good sign. Okay, so now we're connected. Let's try filing again. Okay, so it says your IFR flight plan must contain an IFR approach. Alright, so it wants the RNAV for runway 29 right, and it's using the Zulu. So we can go ahead and do that, and we'll just change. Actually, it doesn't matter. It takes us the same runway, so that doesn't matter. Waxes as the transition point onto the base turn, and I believe that's what our flight plan indicates as well. Oh, that's a whole separate computer. There it goes. Yep, cool. All right, so that is all matched up and good to go. 2 green boxes indicate both are filed. We are ready for clearance and delivery. So let's go ahead and get set up with them. Phoenix clearance TBM-2 Alpha Tango ready to copy IFR. Oh, I registered a please. Clearance TBM-2 Alpha Tango ready to copy IFR.
2 Alpha Tango, you were garbled.
No, I wasn't. Come on now. I have a beautiful, clear voice. TBM-2 Alpha Tango ready to copy IFR.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango is cleared to Kilo Tango Uniform Sierra as filed. Expect departure runway 26. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Departure on 119.2. Squawk 4232.
Clear to Kilo Tango Uniform Sierra as filed. Climb and maintain 5,000 feet. Expect higher clearance 2 minutes after departure. Departure 119.2. Squawk 4232. TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango readback correct. Altimeter 2979er contact ground on 119.75 when ready to taxi. Enjoy.
One 11975 TBM-2 Alpha Tango. Thank you. All right, so we've got our clearance, we got our altitude set, we got our transponder on. Let's turn it on in Pilot2ATC. And we are good to get out of here. So let's get that taxi rolling. Phoenix ground, TBM-2 Alpha Tango, ready to taxi to runway 26.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango taxi to runway 26 via taxiways Alpha, Alpha 11. Hold short runway 26.
Taxi to runway 26 via taxiways Alpha, Alpha 11. Hold short runway 26, TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango taxi.
What was wrong with that? It literally said exactly what she said. She always has problems with the damn taxis. Taxi to runway 26 via taxiway Alpha, Alpha 11. Hold short runway 26, TBM-2 Alpha Tango. Cool. All right. So let's get out of here. She always fights me on the first attempt, and I think it's just 'cause I think I talk too fast. That's probably likely what's happening. So we're set here. Now let's go ahead and turn our yaw damper on. We're going to turn the flight director on. We're not going to turn the nav on yet because we're going to want to use our flight control for the initial takeoff. We'll make sure we clear the runway before we turn to our heading. So let's go ahead and get rolling. And the nice thing is today, it's a nice, easy taxi. Last time I was in Phoenix with the TBM, I literally had to cross over the entire airport. I was at the far opposite corner, on the far opposite side of the airport. It sucked. Might as well have driven to Phoenix. Or driven to Tucson. Alright, approaching our takeoff location.
Alpha Tango contact tower on 118.7. Have a good afternoon.
1187 TBM-2 Alpha Tango, thank you. Phoenix Tower, TBM-2 Alpha Tango, holding short runway 26, ready for departure.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango winds are 238 at 9 knots cleared for takeoff. Runway 26 maintain runway heading until above 2,100 feet, then turn left heading 131 to intercept course.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 26, maintain runway heading until above 2,100 feet. Left 131, TBM-2 Alpha Tango, thank you. Alright, so while he was talking, we turned our strobe lights on, we turned the landing lights on, and we set our flaps to take off. What we'll do to activate our heading mode is we'll set our heading. Once we turn line up with the runway, we'll match the heading bug. Left 131, gotta remember that. Alright, so let's go ahead and set that. There's a heading bug lined up, so all we have to do now is activate our autopilot once we get to our takeoff speed. Alright, slowly adding power. Watching our torque and NG. Make sure we don't over torque the engine. Takeoff power set. Rotate. Positive rate and indicating. Tap the wheel brakes. Stop the wheel from turning. Gear up. Coming up on our best rate speed. Autopilot engaged. Flaps coming up. Setting our speed to best rate. What the hell is that about? A second here. Not sure what happened there. That was a little weird. Should be setting that about 120. Let's set our heading left to 131.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango climb and maintain 1,000 feet. Contact Phoenix departure on 119.2. Enjoy.
Things did not go as planned right there. I think I changed my rotaries too fast. Alright, there's left 131. He said altitude to 11,000. Climb and maintain 11,000. TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango climb and maintain 1,000 feet. Contact Phoenix departure on 119.2. Enjoy.
Forgot about the departure. Climb and maintain 11,000. Contact departure 119.2. TBM-2 Alpha Tango. Thank you. Phoenix departure. TBM-2 Alpha Tango climbing through 5,000 with you.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango, good afternoon. Radar contact.
Alright, so I'm not sure what happened there. I thought I had set my indicated airspeed, but apparently not. So that's why we just climbed like a bat out of heck when I activated the autopilot. It happens. But we got it corrected quick, stayed on our runway heading, turned, made our left turn when we needed to. I feel like those are the things that you get with the practice, you know, in time. You know, it's learning how to manage all those things at once and quickly, you know, and double checking yourself and triple checking yourself, all while flying the aircraft at the same time. I think that's the skill you learn over time. Slow that down a little bit. We're a little bit above our best rate. I wanted to be at it. Perfect day for a flight, though. Should be a short hop, especially in the TBM. Should be about time to resume normal navigation. I think we can go ahead and do that. Whoa, where are you going? Okay.
TBM TBM-2 Alpha Tango climb and maintain flight level 190.
Climb and maintain 190, TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango radar contact. Climb
Okay.
and maintain flight level 190.
Climb and maintain flight level 190, TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango radar contact.
Okay. I need to do some more of the voice training things with it. I think I talk too fast. I don't think it likes it. As I said earlier, but that's weird. Love to know why it felt the need to do that. It's clearly still turning back to intercept. Why do we ask why anymore, right? God, this thing climbs like a rocket, doesn't it? 190 will have to watch for our altimeter change. Nope, now we're flying parallel to it. Actually, we're flying away from it. Desired track 160. TFD is where it says we're headed to. Yet, it's steering us away from it. It's going to call us off course here in a minute, I guarantee it. Let's see how we're doing here. Well, maybe not. So, this is where Pilot2ATC has us, so we'll have to see if it... That's really interesting. It's like they reversed roles. So, we're now flying exactly where Pilot2ATC thinks we should be. So, by the way, if you are one of those people who is experiencing the... On every single flight, you are off course, you're off course, you're off course, turn heading, update your Navigraph if you have it. If you have Navigraph subscription. This is another reason why I do recommend, of all the subscriptions things you can purchase, I do recommend, if you're serious about flight simming, get the Navigraph subscription. The Navigraph charts and the Navigraph data manager are well worth the money that you spend every month. Well worth it. And this is one of those things because I think... So I updated the version to this version last night. Not the AirAct, just the version. And I had the same problem. You know, every time the FMC in the computer would say that I was on course. The Pilot2ATC would come on and tell me, you know, you're off course, turn whatever heading. We're going to turn our inertial separator off now that we're up to altitude, and which will increase our torque a little bit, so we want to watch that. Okay, looks like it's okay. Anyway, so yeah, there was the discrepancy. What I did today, right before this flight actually, was updated the AirAct cycle of the FMS Data Manager, and now that seems to be working just fine. So, I think that was the problem there.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango contact Albuquerque Center on 125.4. Enjoy.
25.4 TBM-2 Alpha Tango, thank you. Albuquerque Center, TBM-2 Alpha Tango climbing through 18,000 with you. Albuquerque Center, TBM-2 Alpha Tango at flight level 190 with you.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango,
Cool.
Good afternoon. Radar contact.
Alright, so you see our torque got really high now, so I'm pulling it back. We don't need to be running that high. Cruising right along. We're actually doing really well. this guy over now. Alright guys, so we're here, our top of descent is here, so from here it's just going to be transitioning from center to center. So when we get closer to our top of descent, I'll give you guys a buzz. Alright, so I'll catch you guys in a few. Alright guys, so we just got our arrival information confirmed by ATC. So we're getting close. Imagine we'll receive our, if we look at Pilot2ATC, just passing Dingo here, so we should start getting our descent information here next few minutes. So I'll go ahead and let the recording keep going here as we start transferring over. I'm definitely confident in... Oh. Yeah, so ATC is now showing that our next waypoint is the top of descent. So we're getting close. Although this might be a minor deviation in the flight plan. We're coming off just a little bit. So there is a little bit of a discrepancy here, and that could be the way the flight plan was entered into the FMC.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango, contact Tucson approach on 128.5. Have a good afternoon.
.5 TBM-2 Alpha Tango, thank you. Tucson approach TBM-285 Tango.
TBM
That was wrong.
Alpha Tango.
Damn it. Who are we again? Tucson approach TBM-2 Alpha Tango at flight level 190 with you now. I didn't like that. Tucson approach TBM-2 Alpha Tango at flight level 190 with you.
TBM-2
There we
Alpha
go.
Tango, good afternoon. Radar contact. TBM-2 Alpha Tango, you are off course.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Turn left heading 097 to return to course.
Uh-oh. Wrong one. What'd you say? Damn it. No, I screwed myself. 097. 097 for TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
2 Alpha Tango, you were garbled. Please say again.
Turn left heading 097 to Alpha Tango.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango, descend and maintain
There we go.
5,000 feet, altimeter 2987.
Descend and maintain.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango, turn left heading 097.
Turn left heading 097. Descend and maintain 15,000.
Aircraft calling approach, say
Come on.
again with your call sign.
Am I not clicked in here? What's going on? There we go. 150. Let's do flight level control. And we're going to set our speed down. Okay, so we're going to...
TBM-2 Alpha Tango cleared for the RNAV approach.
And now we need to start
runway
reducing our
29
speed.
right with the TUS transition.
So actually pulling back on the throttle. Cleared for the RNAV approach into Tucson 29 right using the TUS transition TBM-2 Alpha Tango. And then she's going to steer us here in just a second back onto our heading. We're going to want 129 degrees. going to set us on that heading now. So don't get too far off course here. There we go. I'm pulling the throttle back to get us below 190 knots. Notice that now that we've fallen below 190, we'll start to descend. So I'm pulling the throttle back. The more you reduce the engine power, you will increase your descent rate, because the aircraft has to pitch nose down in order to reach your desired speed. And I can't remember what she said the altimeter was, though. Dang it. See if I can find it. 2987. Alright, cool. I'm also going to pull up Navigraph. We need the RNAV radio frequency for 29 right. So KTUS. Pulling up the approach. 29 right. 111.7 is our nav radio. So let's come over here. Let's go to Navcom. Nav radio. 1117. Enter. We got it up there. Cool. And tracking. Alright, so now when we're ready to switch over to the localizer, we'll be good to go. I'm going to pull the power back a bit more, try to increase our descent rate. There we go, that's better. Coming up on 15,000. Hopefully she increases our descent here in a minute. Pulling the power back on now. Get to about 190 knots. I think she's going to yell at me about our heading again. So you can see again what's happening here. There's the flight path it wants us on. Here's where we are. So there's a little deviation there. So as we stray further and further away, I think she's going to kick us over, but we'll see. It's really not a big deal. And like I said, for me, it actually adds, as long as it doesn't happen like crazy often, it's kind of fun, because it just adds a little bit more, you know, of what you get to do when flying the plane. And get better about manipulating the controls, etc. etc. You like Kevin now? Kudos if you can name that movie.
Cleared for the RNAV approach to runway 29 right with the TUS transition TBM-2 Alpha Tango.
Just making sure there wasn't an issue there.
TBM-2
There we
Alpha
go.
Tango descend via the TUS transition to 5,300 feet.
Descend via the TUS transition to 5,300 TBM-2 Alpha Tango. Pretty sure we're going to get vectored here in a minute. Turn us left 033 to follow our next course leg. And I'm getting that information from right here.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango altimeter 2988 at Tucson International Contact Tower on 118.3. Enjoy your afternoon.
118.3 TBM-2 Alpha Tango, thank you. Tucson Tower, TBM-2 Alpha Tango descending through 9,000 with you.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango, good afternoon. Radar contact. Continue RNAV to runway 29 right, call when established on final.
We're going to switch this over to the localizer now. And our final track, we're going to be turning right or turning left to 303 degrees. And we can go ahead and start that right now. So 033, we're actually heading, sorry, 303. We're tracking the localizer. It's been identified, so now we're going to go ahead and switch our nav mode back over to the localizer. So now it's going to line us up with the runway. Continuing our descent. I'm going to go ahead and set our altitude down to 3,000 at this point. Hate it when it does this. There it goes. Actually, we'll go 4,000. Where are you going, plane? Oh no, you are absolutely wrong. Ah, damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Why are you going that way? What are you doing, plane? That is not the localizer. Okay, hang on a second. We've got a major problem here. Not sure what's happening. Let's arrest our descent. Tapping the altitude button. Got some power on. What happened? Alright, I'm going to pause for a second so we can figure out what happened with Navigraph, because something didn't go right. I need to determine, is this the plane or is this me? 29 right. That's going to be the big runway coming inbound. 303 degrees right there. No, localizer 111.7 ITUS. We must have been too far out still. That's what I'm gonna hope. So let's get us back on course with the runway here. Either that or the simulator's only showing the localizer for the wrong freaking direction. Alright, this is about to get really interesting, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to fly the heading, the plane over here, until this green line is solid, and at that point we should still be in line with the runway. We're going to make this work. Everything's going to be okay. I'm going to go flaps 1. Start reducing some airspeed here, start slowing us down a bit. I think we're too far out, is what happened, because I didn't even look at our distance, which was a shame on me, but I think we're still a ways away from our airfield. And so once we're established, we'll turn her right. Although it says we're only 7.5 miles away, we should be able to pick up the localizer by then. It's facing the wrong darn direction. So we're going to do this ourselves, kids. We're going to do this ourselves, and we need to get our altitude down. Alright, here it comes. TBM-2 Alpha Tango established on final.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango winds are light and variable, cleared to land runway 29 right.
Clear to land 29 right, 2 Alpha Tango. Alright, so at this point, guys, we're going to take the plane back ourselves. Just as simple. Just as fun. Gear coming down, full flaps. Crabbing in on the approach a little bit. Whoa, what's going on? Shallow on the approach. There we go. Reestablished. Trim isn't responding though, which is weird. Be a little long in the landing, but we'll be alright.
TBM-2 Alpha Tango exit runway when able.
Exit when able, 2 Alpha Tango. Little bounce. Alright, we're down. Come on, mamas. Damn, rudder pedals turn. I keep forgetting to spend half an afternoon resetting those. Alright, flaps are up, strobe lights off, landing lights off. Should just leave our taxi light on. Yep, strobe light off, taxi, let's leave the taxi light on, there we go. Alright, now we'll park here. And let's contact Tucson ground. Tucson ground, TBM-2 Alpha Tango, holding short runway 29 right, request taxi to parking.
Aircraft calling Ryan ground on 118.2. It appears you may be on the wrong frequency.
They are absolutely right. Tucson ground, TBM-2 Alpha Tango, holding short runway 29 right, request taxi to parking.
TBM-2
There we go.
Alpha Tango taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Alpha, Delta, Bravo.
Taxi to general aviation parking via taxiways Alpha, Delta, Bravo, TBM-2 Alpha Tango. I don't know why she wants us to go to Bravo. Appreciate you guys flying along with me today. I know that approach was a little scary, but you can see it here, that it's looking at the wrong direction. Although, you know what I didn't do? No, that wouldn't have made a difference. So it's a localizer course. Yeah, it definitely picked up the wrong direction. It only used for 1-1 left, which is not right. So if we were landing on run 1-1 left, everything would have worked out beautifully. Alright, so this should be Delta. Over here off to the right. And now it's looking for the VOR. And we can turn our flight directors off. All right, let's lock her down. Terminate. Now, I did forget to turn the inertial separator on landing, and I should have done that. Again, one of those things you learn when dealing with tense situations. And boom. We'll taxi her to parking from here. We'll push her back into the garage. We'll be good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this flight. I know it had its challenges. Remember, the simulator is always going to have its challenges, guys. Take those as learning experiences, especially for those of you who are like me, who are going to be going for your real-world pilot's license. Obviously, we're not going to be running into some of the things that we run into with the simulator. You know, courses not being right, ILS frequencies not, showing the correct direction, things like that nature. But what it is going to teach you, and what I'm taking from it, is how to think quickly, how to react quickly, how to not, well, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Like, you saw, once the aircraft started turning too far, I immediately knew, okay, this isn't right. Checked the arrows on the nav system and flipped it around. I should have caught those arrows right from the start, honestly. So that was my fault as the pilot, is the second that I switched over to the localizer, I should have seen that the arrow was pointing in the wrong direction. Okay, but, and honestly, looking back on it, I'm wondering if back course would have worked. And I'll have to test that. Back course is a setting that allows the FMC to fly the reverse course of what's currently selected. So I'm wondering if that would have been applicable in that scenario and allowed us to fly onto the localizer. I'll test that here in a minute. I'm probably going to go back up and test it again. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and keep chugging along, keep flying, and keep learning more and more. This is where it comes to. I definitely like the aspect, like I said, it teaches you to think quickly and react quickly. And then at the end, like, with the inertial separator, you catch the things that you miss, and you hopefully adapt that to next time. All right. For example, I just recently got in the habit of tapping the brakes on takeoff. I have never done that before, never paid attention before, didn't care. And just recently I started tapping the brakes, stop the wheels, and then bring the gear up. So just little things like that. So questions, comments, like, subscribe, all that good jazz. You guys know what to do with it all. And be on the lookout for the new guides coming. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful week, folks. Take care.